That's how it used to be. But now, how I handle sobriety, it just
These wounds are ancient. I just keep breaking them open while
as if you didn't already know, I'm a sober person, which means I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke weed, I don't do anything mind altering in that way. And in 10 days, I'll actually be 8 months sober. So, yeah. So the topic for today is about sobriety and gigging in bars or working in the service industry and like surviving that and rather also thriving. Um, yeah, so I guess I'll just talk about how things used to be. So for me, I'm a musician, I'm a singer, and I play guitar. I play in solos, duos, quartets. So my work is, unless it's a private event, and even still, those places tend to have alcohol. Um, yeah, I'm around alcohol. There's nothing, that I can do about it. And I even, uh, have worked for Painting with a Twist. And if you're not familiar with Painting with a Twist, it's basically a paint and sip place. People come for 2 hours, they paint, and then they leave. We teach them a painting. They're allowed to bring alcohol with them. And I can't tell you how many times I get offered drinks uh, all the time. So, how it used to be prior to sobriety and prior to the pandemic when I was out is um, as a musician working in bars, there's a tab a lot of times, so I can have access to alcohol whenever I want, or there's some discount on it a lot of times. Sometimes you have to pay full price for the alcohol, but a lot of times you don't, or you get a pretty nice discount on it. So it's hard to say no, because alcohol is expensive, and if you're drinking it, you want it to be free or discounted. I mean, that's like a score, right? So there was that aspect of it that made it hard for me not to drink while I was gigging or while I was in these environments. But if the discount or the open bar tab is not gonna get you as a musician working in these spaces. It's like people hear your music, and if they like it, a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, let me buy you a drink." Or if they want you to play another song, they'll try to like slide in, "Oh, let me get you another drink," yada yada. And it's hard to say no to that. It really is. And so that's how it used to be. But now, how I handle it is I use my tabs for food. I use my discounts for food. And if people offer me drinks, I let them know that I don't drink. And if they want to buy me a sparkling water, they can. So, some alternatives. Sparkling water, obviously regular water, but well, if they have sparkling water, that makes me feel kind of fancy. So, sparkling water. Some places have mocktails, which, if you don't know what a mocktail is, it's basically just a non alcoholic version of a cocktail that has alcohol in it. There are places that have kombucha, there are places that have CBD seltzers. The CBD seltzers and the kombucha are not as common. A lot of places will just be like, yeah, we have Coke products. Yeah, we've got tea. And if you're not doing sugar like me, then Coke products and sweet tea and all that is not really my jam. Um, but yeah, those are some alternatives to drinking. And I would say also just I bring essential oils with me, little roll on blends that you can kind of put on your wrists or your neck or under your nose or wherever. And there's also lavender oil is really great. It's really calming. It's good for sleeping. It's good for headaches. So, and it's got an overall calming effect. So I bring that with me, and I sometimes use that before a gig or in between sets. And it just kind of calms me down, kind of gets rid of the anxiety that I feel. Because I have a theory, but I'll just speak from my experience. It's like wanting to smoke, wanting to drink, at a gig, I think is really just connected to anxiety and nervousness. And yes, there's underlying trauma that's connected to that for me as well. But especially like on a gig where I have like all this fear, and like these are gigs that I've been gigging since 2016, and I've been singing since I was 6. So it's like this is not new to me. Why am I so nervous? But there's this like imposter syndrome thing that takes over, and it's a challenge every time I show up to a gig. I know that I've done successful on gigs. I know that I'm good at what I do. I know that people enjoy my music, those who tune in and listen and engage with it while I'm there. I know that it's more than likely going to be a great time. It's not going to go badly, but there's still this anxiety, and smoking and drinking used to calm that for me. And so being that, like I said, I'm 10 days away from being 8 months sober, and it's also, thank you God, landing on my birthday. I'm going to be 31, and my gift to myself, if I live to see this birthday, which hopefully I will, is I'll be 8 months sober. That's a great gift to give to myself. And yeah, so it's just um sobriety, it just it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be sober when I would rather not be, especially if I'm doing something that I feel anxious about. And, these are methods that I use to calm myself. So I'm interested in knowing, those of you in the gig economy, those of you who are bartenders or servers, or even when you work at cafes and stuff and you serve wine, if you work at a paint and sip place like I have, and you know basically the whole experience, unless it's a kids class, is fueled by, you have this alcohol to help you get through this painting, so don't be nervous. Or you're a musician like me, and you are in these spaces where alcohol is basically free for you a lot of times, or people will offer to buy you drinks, and sometimes they'll keep buying you drinks. And how do you say no? What's it like for you? What are some things that you struggle with? And how do you overcome them, fellow sober people in these types of job environments? And I will also add that it's super challenging when you're like at an outdoor venue, for example, or a venue where there's outdoor seating and you're playing music outside as a musician, and there's like weed smoke like flying by, and there's not really anything you can do about that. Like it's not like you can be like, hey, where's that coming from? That person needs to go a few blocks down the road or whatever. Like dealing with that is another difficult thing. It's kind of frustrating to have to just be subjected to like that hitting my face, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's something that I've struggled with in my life that I'm now choosing not to engage in. Yeah, it helps it helps to be sober, and it helps when I can kind of refocus myself with like I said, like essential oils, or I just remind myself like why I'm here. I remind myself of how much better of a show I'm going to be able to put forward, and how much more rewarding it will be to do this show sober, and to finish it sober, and to get home sober, and to not have to be encumbered by using in some form, just because I'm being reminded that I used to, through this like olfactory experience that's like happening out of my control in the moment. And like I said, like kombucha, CBD seltzers, regular seltzers, even if they have club soda, for order order citrus and put some in there, spice it up a little bit. All that stuff makes me feel super special, and I'm trying not to cuss in these videos, but as you can see, I almost did it. But yeah, that's all I have for this video, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Reach out and let me know how it is for you. Do you really struggle with this? Is sobriety something that you're curious about and you don't know how you would handle it because there's all of these kinds of obstacles that I've shared, some of, what I've shared that you're experiencing, and you don't know how it's going to go. So you're like, oh, I might as well not try. How do you handle it? I'm curious. So hopefully you found this helpful, and hopefully, I've given you some tips and some ideas about how to survive gigging in bars and working in the service industry in places that have alcohol and or other paraphernalia floating by, and how to basically live your best life in those spaces and stay sober. So this is Guianna. I'm going to be doing more of these kinds of videos, so just stay tuned and stay creative, stay well. Peace.